Comrades, thank you so much for turning up here today in such great numbers. Even a last-minute change of venue can't keep the people of our great city away from standing up and supporting this movement and supporting those in need. My name is Lee Hunter. I'm the chair of the Fire Brigade Union on Merseyside, and the Enough is Enough campaign is a movement founded by people just like us, all of us. Trade unionists, community organisations, people who see the effects that low wages, food poverty, rising prices and poor housing are having on so many in our society, but most tragically, the most vulnerable. Enough is Enough has 5 demands: a real pay rise, slash energy bills, end food poverty, decent homes for all, and tax the rich. For too long, the Tories have preyed on the working classes of this country to bankroll themselves and their mates to get richer. We won't stand for that any longer. We need to see an end to teachers having to feed children who turn up at school hungry because there is no food at home. We need to see an end to nurses queuing at food banks because at the end of a long shift they've had to pay for parking at their own place of work and can't afford to shop. And now, some of those food banks are facing the very real risk of closing down because they can't afford to pay the energy bills. What kind of country have we become where those providing food for the hungry are forced to close because they can't afford to feed the profits paid out to shareholders and company executives? Our own Ian Byrne, along with Dave Kelly and Robbie Daniels, started fan supporting food banks to provide food for those in need, but also to make sure that those people could access that food with dignity. And that is exactly what we need to carry on with, giving people back their dignity, because that has been stripped away from the most deprived in our communities. As a firefighter, I've seen social deprivation in this city at first hand. Bare mattresses on floors that children sleep on, empty cupboards that mean there's no food so the hunger isn't going away that day. The haunted look in their parents' eyes, that they wonder how they're going to make it through the week and what the future will bring for them and their children. This has been going on for years, but now it's getting worse. These people, children and adults, are now going to starve and freeze to death in their own homes or on the streets, whilst bankers see their bonuses soar. The price of the most basic amenities are beyond the reach of lots in our communities. We need change, and we need it now! Turning up here today to support this movement is part of bringing about that change. Across the country, over 50 other rallies like this one, maybe not as good, are taking place. The people are coming together to say, we will not accept this any longer. We demand better. Enough is enough. Yes! Now I know you didn't come here to listen to me talk today. So what I'll do is I'll introduce you to the first of our outstanding speakers. Please welcome from fan supporting food banks, and we are very proud to say, as a man who represents our city with such professionalism and dignity, MP of the Year, Ian Byrne. Thanks everybody. What a day, brilliant turnout. And greetings of solidarity, I'm sure, from everybody here and every Striker member who's on the picket line today, last week, next week and the coming months. We need to send that collective message of solidarity to every trade unionist across this country, because their fight's our fight and it's a fight we must win. As I speak now, we've got hundreds of job workers marching from the picket line. Hopefully we've left a few behind to take back the bodies to Anfield, and what they're doing, they're bringing food from the picket lines from their homes while they're on strike to the fan support food bank stockpile place at Anfield.
That is solidarity, not charity, in action. And I'm proud of that. No, it's a real privilege to be speaking in my own town today. You know how much I think of this place. And people often, and I've been asking over the last few months, what is enough? What is it? What's it about? Well, I'll tell you what it is, it's this. It's people collectively from all walks of life coming together and saying the system is absolutely broken for us, for our families, for our friends, for our communities. As Lee said, there's over 50 of these today, and there's many more in small towns, villages across the country where people collectively are coming together to say enough is enough, the system's broken, we demand and we want change. Now in this city, we stand on the shoulders of giants who have fought for social justice and trade unionism throughout the ages. From Kitty Wilkinson to Big Jim Larkin, from Jack Jones to Terry Fields and the Hillsborough campaigners. And look, I could talk about everybody in this city, fill the speech with names, you'd all cheer, I'd walk off, and that'd be job done. But I want to touch on a few other things today, because social justice is in our DNA. And I'm sure all I've mentioned and all I haven't mentioned were behind this fight in this moment in time, to see the working class rise, come together and fight back. Right now is a moment we must seize hold of. We must use this moment to begin to rebalance the scales of fairness for our class. This has never been more urgent. We have in our great city 1 in 3 currently in hunger. This week I've seen teachers crying about children going hungry in a Right to Food meeting. I've spoken to nurses at protests telling me about colleagues not taking breaks at work on 14-hour shifts because they're ashamed that they've got no money to buy a meal. That's the type of thing that we're facing as a society. The system is utterly broken. We are facing the biggest economic and social crisis in living memory, and many in our communities have absolutely nothing to cushion them with the economic tsunami heading towards them today. We've had 40 years of Thatcherite-inspired economic consensus, the privatisation of our utilities, underpinned by the most draconian anti-trade union laws designed to stop us fighting back. Well, it's not bleeding working, is it?
No!
Because look at what we're seeing here. Look at what we're seeing across the country. It's not really, is it? Look. Trickle-down economics is a myth. Thatcherism, and we know all about Thatcherism in this city. So wealth accumulated at the top, not spread, and inequality has doubled since '78. And now, we have an unelected Prime Minister, even more determined to push an economic programme which is Thatcher on steroids.
Definitely.
I saw this 2 weeks ago. I sat in Parliament and we seen the Chancellor get up, and my worst fears were confirmed when the former's money budget. We seen a far-right, unelected government with no mandate crash our country off the cliff and declare all-out war on the working class. Truss has done the impossible and made Boris Johnson look capable. It's absolutely terrifying. And the people who I'm receiving emails from, people who I'm speaking to my constituency, the people in the city, they're saying to me, Ian, we cannot tinker around the edges of poverty. We cannot stand by while profiteers destroy livelihoods, extracting profit for shareholders at the expense of the workers. We must leave no stone unturned and put absolutely everything into this growing movement to change. And I agree with them, and I hope everyone here does as well. I'm proud to play my part in this fight back, focus and everything, representing my city, and also heading the Right to Food campaign with transport food banks. We refuse to accept that the people go hungry. We refuse that poverty is inevitable. It's the very opposite. Hunger is a political choice. made and sustained by this Tory government. And I say to you all now, the time for sticking plasters is over. We demand systemic change so that all our people might live with opportunity, health, happiness and dignity. The success of the Right to Food campaign is that it's built on the principles of community organising and with the trade unions at the very core of it, and bringing together towns, city councils, football clubs, community groups, health workers. We had 1,400 health workers sign a petition asking for universal free school meals, academics, faith leaders and politicians, and we've empowered people to build this in their own communities. We will continue to build pressure in communities and in Parliament to collective solidarity and a collective experience of poverty. And look, a real key part of our campaign narrative is know who your real enemy is. Because this morally bankrupt government and its right-wing media outlets who sow division and hate will now be doing everything they can to deflect this government's policies and their declaration of war on our class. That's what they'll be doing now. So look, your real enemy is not someone who speaks a Manc accent, or a Geordie accent, a Cockney accent, someone of a different race, sexual orientation, religion, someone out of work, someone disabled, somebody who hasn't had a chance, and we'll hear from Sally in a minute. It's the people who are responsible for creating inequalities in our communities. They are the enemies of the working class. They are our target comrades. I'm proud to say that two fans supporting food banks, we have brought together Everton and Liverpool supporters, City and United, West Ham and Millwall, Villa and Birmingham, Dundee United, and just 3 weeks ago, possibly our greatest ever achievements, we had supporters from Celtic and Rangers collecting food together in Glasgow. This is what knowing what your real enemy looks like in action, casting aside sectarian differences and uniting to show solidarity to communities in struggle. It's working class solidarity, comrades, in all its glory, and it's an absolute joy to see. But comrades, we need to do more in the coming months because the lines have been well and truly drawn. This far-right, morally bankrupt government with no mandate has chosen its side. With enough is enough and Right to Food campaigns, we will be planning hunger marches in our towns and cities. The first one is today in Lewisham, organised by the inspirational Right to Food London. And look, I get emotional that I'm even talking like that. And in 2022, in the world's richest economy, we're talking about hunger marches. But it is, and we must respond as a class and a collective to protect the millions of women, men and children who at this very moment are struggling. The cry must go out. It must go out from this valley, my great city, Liverpool, and an entire movement across this land. Enough is enough. No more will we accept hunger in our communities. So let's unite. Let's work with one common purpose to win this class war initiated by the Tories with collective unity and unbending solidarity to victory.
I think we set the bar high. What I'm going to ask now is everybody at the front, can you move forward please? People at the back are telling us that they can't quite hear. So right up to the barriers here, let's make sure that this message is getting out to everybody who's come here to support this movement today. Thank you for that, comrades. Your next speaker is from GMB Union, the union who represent members from a wide range of industries, many who are getting ready for industrial action right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim Collins. Afternoon, everyone.
I'm not going to compete with you in speech. I'll keep it short and sweet. The reason I've come out is to join the movement of Enough is Enough. I'm an active member, but also active in the community. I'm a guy that grew up on poverty with my family in North Green. I'm also a man who starts working, supporting colleagues, members and our communities in poverty as well. As we know, in the last couple of months, the momentum is building now in the communities, in the workplaces and in the union. Everyone collectively is now starting to unite to attack back at the Tory government. There's been too many cuts over the years, but also within the workplace and our local communities as well. I've come today just to share a little bit of information about what we're doing at Jacobs. Currently, we've got members out on strike at the factory, and this is our 4th day of strike action. We've had over 700 members out in the last couple of days. Monday night shift, we had men and women, young and old, out right the way through the night. And as you know, Monday night the weather was absolutely horrendous. I was out there with them, making them hot drinks, giving them food, making sure everyone was looked after. And do you know what? Do you know what fed them? The support, the love, the compassion between every one of them. That's what I love about Liverpool and our community. Our factory is part of a global organisation called Gladys. But in Liverpool, the factory, what we know it, is called the black sheep of the family. They always want to make the cuts, they always want to make the threats. But never guess what? They're picking them with the wrong people, with the people from Liverpool. We will oppose any further changes. Over the last 5 years, they've made changes to our benefits, our terms and conditions and our pay, our lives, our working hours and how we live as families. They made changes last year, 5 years ago, where we give up 14% of pay, up to 14% of pay. People think, why would you even do that? Well, we were given the ultimatum, we change or we close. So we give up salaries, we give up our weekends with our families, we give up double time on the overtime, time and a half. We give up working part-time for people that couldn't because of mobility reasons or commitments with the families. And we're part of a company that is very rich. Let's have no vote. You know, they are a rich company, they make a lot of money, and they make a lot of money from our factory as well. Now, we lost 320 jobs 5 years ago, because we made the change. We thought we were going to be given £60 million worth of investment to bring us into the new era of modernisation, automation. Now, we've had 5 pay deals later, we're not even on them rates to pay. They've offered us a poor pay rise, I'll wrap it up now because I know other people are coming up, and they've offered us a 1-year deal of 3.75% or a 2-year deal of 4.25%. and 3% for the year after, but it's linked to a condition that everyone becomes a trainer. Absolutely not. The implications are on is health and safety, absence. People just don't want to train, they feel threatened, intimidated. So we're out now on strike until we actually get what we want. We put a pay claim in for 10% and we will get them the fight.
Outstanding, Tim, thank you very much. I know people in Liverpool have already gone down in and showed their support for the strikers down at Jacobs, and I'm sure you'll carry on doing it. Now, next up, as our nurses fight to improve their pay, as they care for us, from the Royal College of Nurses, please welcome Carmel O'Boyle.
Thank you for coming here today. I'm going to keep it really very quick because you can see how clumsy I am. So when I was a little girl, I was taught about respect. We were taught to respect our elders and the people who helped us. So we knew that respect was to be earned and something to aspire to. So look around us now, we're all grown up. We are the workers of Britain, and I ask our government, where is our respect? Why, in the richest countries, are the people all eat at cranes? How disgusting is that? We build our communities, we shape our areas, we help everybody around us. Why do the government not see what we're doing? Why do we have nurses using food banks? Why is heat or eat even a phrase? And why are people in poverty? Poverty affects every single one of us, our nurses, our workers, and all the people that we serve. If our nurses are hurting, then our communities are hurting as well. All nurses want to do is to help our patients properly, and we need the right resources to do that. We are in a massive staffing crisis, and with less staff means less care for you and for our communities. Our ballot goes live next week, and I ask our nurses to use their voices, but I ask the public to help us, to help our government see that we need more people to look after our populations. We need to help our nursing families, or we can't look after anybody's family. We should never be in a situation where people are in the streets begging for food, begging our government to respect us. Enough is enough.
Thanks, Carmel. I'm sure you could hear the real desperation that our nurses are facing there. Now, our next speaker, representing vulnerable people, is a first-time speaker on this type of platform, so I know that you'll show her all the respect she deserves and give her a brilliant Liverpool welcome. Please welcome Sally Dodson.
Because I've worked from the age of 14, and for 20 years I gave everything to whoever I fucking worked for, and they paid me fuck all. I got desperately fucking ill. You can see the result. 2,500 people in the southeast of England have just been handed £1 billion. While we can't afford to fucking eat or pay the bills. I am telling you now, this is a fucking insidious massacre of the most vulnerable people in this country. And if you do not stand up, you're going to be on that list with everybody like me. There's millions of us. 3 people a day kill themselves because of the DWP. What the fuck are we doing? We can't put up with this double-speak gaslighting bullshit anymore. What we see is what we fucking see. No longer shall people struggle so a handful of fucking billionaires can collect more money than they could even use in 10 lifetimes. What the fuck is going on? For kids in this country who aren't that worried about food, you know, they're more worried that their parents won't wake up in the fucking morning. Be kind, yeah? How far did that fucking get us? Nowhere. Because people on benefits, they don't pay tax, do they? Except they do every fucking time they buy something. Can we wake up as a society? Jesus! I'm just going to finish on this because it's fucking important. Thank you. I'm trying. As much as I deeply appreciate and admire all the hard work that gets put into food banks, and now potentially warm banks, I am fucking petrified it is going to become normalised because, trust me, if these people see an ounce of opportunity to make an economy out of misery, they will do it. It's got to stop! Thank you for your time.
I said Ian set the bar, didn't I? You've been outdone, mate. Okay, next to speak we have from Acorn the Union, who fight for better housing. Please welcome Rachel Hardy.
Hi everyone, it's a huge privilege to speak to you today on behalf of my community union, Acorn. I'd like to start by obviously sending a message of solidarity to all those striking or balloting to strike this week, fighting for fair pay and better working conditions, and a special shout out to the FDU for providing us in the battle bus today. Acorn works on the same principles as a trade union, but instead of organising in workplaces, we organise in our communities. We build power in our neighbourhoods and we use that power to have our neighbours' backs. And just like our friends in the trade unions, Acorn Liverpool has been out this morning taking collective action to defend our members and demanding decent homes for all, one of the 5 demands of the Enough is Enough campaign. So we took our picket line to letting agencies a lot across the city to say enough is enough. We demanded they end discrimination against people receiving benefit as part of Acorn's Yes to DSS campaign. And this is a campaign that's already seen the council pass unanimously an unamended motion written by our members that will finally see landlords face real consequences for discriminating against people on benefit. You will have all seen, and many of you have been affected directly by the common practice of listing private rented properties as no DSS or working professionals only, asking for huge deposits or rent upfront and requesting guarantors before a rent can be made. This creates barriers for renters receiving benefit and or on low income, putting them at risk of homelessness. Our campaign has highlighted the fact that over 80% of properties listed on Open Rent still states no DSS, and we actually secretly recorded multiple letting agencies guiding landlords through how to successfully avoid people on housing benefit, and they must face consequences. We at Acorn will hold landlords and the council to account until functioning systems to tackle this type of discrimination is in place. Until then, and always, there is power in a union, so join Acorn. We need all the support we can get so we can work together and defend our community's interests. So we all know things are hard right now and the situation's only getting worse. But I'm here to ask you, what are we going to do about it? So, fight back! So, just take a second now to look at everyone here around you, maybe shake hands with the person next to you, say hello to someone new, or have a little hug or a bit of eye contact if you feel like it. This is your community. Only we can support each other through this because the government and people in positions of financial power are not here to help. So for me, it's great to be a member of the amazing Acorn Liverpool branch. I joined the union as I saw it as a practical and positive solution to the string of bad experiences me and my friends have had as renters over the years. I'm sure you, like me, are also sick of a system that allows landlords to charge huge rents for grotty houses while refusing to make repairs, stealing deposits, evicting people at the drop of a hat, and my personal worst experience being threatened with a legal eviction by my landlord who'd sold up his mansion for over £1 million and now wanted to move into our home. These things cause so much stress when you face them alone. Acorn allows us to work together and support each other, look into our community at times when we need us the most. Acorn is a way to take back power, and since joining, it's given me the tools to fight for better living standards in our homes and communities. I've been part of the fight for public control of our buses. I've fought to make landlords and letting agents face actual consequences for discrimination, and I've fought to defend members to win against landlords dealing with disrepair, spiralling rents, deposit theft and evictions. So, we are fighting, and Acorn is fighting for a society that is organised by and works for the working class. That's why we've joined this campaign. We know all of the struggles for a better, fairer society are linked, and that's why we're coming together with our friends in trade unions and in communities everywhere to say enough is enough. To say, your fight is my fight, you are my neighbour, you are my workmate, you are my family, and you are my friends. We have a plan to get out in the streets and fight back. A plan to resist the bailiffs enforcing debts owed to the offshore bank accounts for energy companies and their CEOs. A plan to resist landlords raising rents, and a plan to defend each other, to raise each other up. So, we're asking you to do two things when you go home today. Number one, speak to your neighbours. If your neighbour has a problem, we all have a problem. We can organise and work together on a strategy to fight for what we deserve and take back power. So knock on a few doors or slip a note through your neighbour's letterbox and get talking. Number two, if you're not already, join a union and join Acorn. Support funds, support and food banks. Support all the incredible organisations working throughout our community or working for people who've been abandoned by the establishment and working to build a better future together. Thank you!
Thanks, Rachel. Right, I hope you're ready for the sing song. Next up, from May, we have the fantastic Chantel Lunt. Sorry, one more thing. We've heard that some people are struggling to stand up at the moment. Unite have brought us some seats over to, as you look to the left, where we all should be. So if anyone is struggling to stand, make your way over there and there's some seats for you. Thank you. Chantel.
Thanks, Lou, thanks. I didn't realise I was meant to bring me singing voice, but apparently we're doing a chant. So should we do a chant for a minute before I start talking at you? Right, all you have to do is say stand up, fight back. When the working class are under attack, what are we going to do? Stand up, fight back. When the NHS are under attack, what are we going to do? Stand up, fight back. When our rights are under attack, what are we going to do? Stand up, fight back. What are we going to do? Stand up, fight back. What are we going to do? Stand up, fight back. And the time has come to fight back. So I'm from BLM, I'm from Merseyside Alliance for Racial Equality, I'm from Kildabill, I'm from a number of organisations. But what I wanted to talk to you about was, you know, obviously we had a Queen die not so long ago, but I was actually thinking about my Queen recently, and that's my mum, and how she died. My mum died of pneumonia in November 2016. She died in a ward that was overcrowded, and even after she died, we didn't have a room to put her in, so we had to come and stand by her body in a room with 6 other patients, and all we had for a bit of dignity was a curtain around the bed. That's not a new. That is not a new. But I just wanted to say, you know, when a 96-year-old dies in complete comfort and privilege, and with everything she ever needed that we'd all pay for, that's not what I'm thinking about right now. I think about our elderly, and for those who don't know me, I used to be a busy, and I'm not going to speak in any way, shape or form positively of the busies, because I have and all that. But one thing I did see when I was a police officer, and the firefighters behind me will be able to attest to that, especially Lee, is in November, once we get into around November, when you're in frontline emergency service work, do you want to know the most calls that come through on the radio? It's called sudden deaths. And it's when our elderly die, it's just death after death after death, and you just go to house after house after house. And I don't know what it was like before Tories, because I've only ever been an emergency service worker. I'm not one now, I'm not a busy now, under Tories. But that was something that broke my heart when you attend the houses of people who died in the homes, and you come in a coat and you'd be quite warm, and you could still feel the cold from within their houses. So when we talk about the assault on the working class, that's what I always think about, how our elderly die, how our working class elderly die. And it was never in the affluent areas of this borough, it was always in the working class areas that we were attending those sudden deaths, and it was always our elderly, and that always broke my heart. But I also was a children's centre worker for around 12 years, most of them under Tory austerity. And something else that broke my heart, which has been touched on, was when we used to watch the kids come in after our budget was being slashed and after funding in the communities was being slashed, and they'd come in and you'd just notice them getting thinner and thinner, and you'd see the kids who were like, you know, going through the bags and taking food just so that they could eat because they were hungry, and as workers you'd do everything you could to make sure that they got food, and they got more food because you knew that when they were going home they wouldn't get any food, and it was really important to feed them. But as our budgets were slashed, it meant that I was an outreach worker, and the remit for outreach doubled and trebled, so it meant that we weren't actually getting out to the families that we needed to see. So we weren't even that worried. We were worried, but the kids that we were worried about weren't the ones that we were always seeing every day. It was actually the ones whose parents couldn't even afford the bus fare. What the hell was happening to them? That was 5 years ago. What's happening to them now? Do you think their lives are getting any better under this fucking assault on our right? Do you think their lives are going to get any better unless we stand up now and do something about it? So when we say enough is enough, we mean it. We're not fighting for people like me. We're not fighting for healthy, relatively young adults. We're fighting for the most vulnerable in our community. The very young and the very old, because they are the ones who are going to feel it. The Tories want to tell me to put a jumper on, they can fuck off. I'll put my heating on and they can go and whistle for the money. But I'm in a privileged position. If I don't pay my bill, yes, they can come, they can do whatever the fuck they like, but I'm not on a meter. I know that my mum's generation would never dream of not paying a bill. They can't do it. They will sit and they will freeze because they will not go into debt. And that's the issue. It is a position of privilege to be able to say, I'm not paying my bill this month. It is a position of privilege, and we need to be thinking about those who do not have that privilege. And we also need to... think about the doublespeak, like in the same right-wing papers, they want to tell us we're facing a cost of living crisis, while also reporting on the eye-watering profits of the gas and electricity companies. Like, come on, we can see it. And that's what we need to tell them. We need to say, we see you. And enough is enough. Say it with me, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And again, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And again, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
One more time, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And I'm going to wrap up because I can see Lee coming in on me, but I want to just talk about the class war. The class war is an absolute joke. When they say that they're facing a class war because the unions have finally said we are not putting up with this assault on our wages, we are not facing a cost of living crisis. Most of us aren't even bloody surviving, never mind living. What they're doing is putting every bloody bill through the roof and stagnating our wages and still telling us we can get by. And it's a deliberate move to plunge us into poverty. They don't want us to be homeowners. They don't want us to have a thing that is in our name. They want us to be in eye-watering debt for the rest of our lives. They want us to live in debt. They want us to die in debt. So if they can buy a bloody yacht, war on us about 12 years ago, and the only bit of truth that has ever been reported on Boris Johnson is when he allegedly said, let the bodies pile high, because our bodies have been piling high in numbers, and now is the time to fight back, because nothing that we have won as a class has ever been given willingly by the ruling elite. We have always had to fight for it on the streets, and it is incredible to see it out in so many numbers today. the narrative that tells us that it's not okay to be struggling this time of year, because I will freely say I have no idea how I'm going to pay my gas bill, I've got no idea how I'm going to pay the levy, I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to Christmas and buying the kids toys, because my wages have not gone up. And as a community we need to make sure that that is normalised. It's okay to be struggling. We're not going to be looking at the mums who can't pay and say, oh look at those trainers. We need to normalise not being okay. We need to wrap our arms around our community and find ways to get ourselves through this, while at the same time holding those fuckers to account and keeping our boots on their bloody throats and saying things have to end now. Enough is enough, guys. Enough is enough.
You wouldn't realise I called her or texted her at 7:30 this morning and she wasn't speaking till then, would you? Right, teachers and another are fantastic occupations that are also looking to take action to fight for better pay and conditions. From the National Education Union, please welcome John Weirty.
I've only got a couple of things I just want to say today. I'll keep it quite short really, but I want to talk about the role that everyone's got, that we've all got, that we all feel, and the opportunities we've got right now. I want to speak as a rank and file teacher today, just as a rep in a school, and the day-to-day things that we do as reps, and I'm sure many of you out there, but also the opportunities we've got to start turning things around after the demoralisation we felt for such a long time. In our union, we're in the middle of an indicative ballot, which will give us a chance to ballot over a ridiculously low pay increase. So we've got the chance to talk to the teachers and the staff in school about getting their ballot done. And it's a great opportunity really. It's a chance for us to talk to each other. And I think that's a massive first step in building what we want to build, because we've got to build a new union organisation across everywhere that's going to take these on, because they're serious. When Chantel talked about class war, yeah, there is a class war. They're waging it on us every day. The class war is happening right now. They know what they're doing. They're not unaware of the pain and the misery that they cause us. We can't wait for years for a possible government that might come in and might change something a little bit. It's now. It has to happen now, and we have the power to stop it now. Facing this bunch that we see on our tellies every night, and the arrogance that they talk about their wealth and that we just have to tighten our belt strings, it's sickening. But if I was a greedy, inhuman, rich Tory right now, I'd be planning, I'd be thinking, what do we do? Because the masses seem to be questioning us. We don't seem to be popular right now. We seem to have some problems. So they're going to need to think about how to rule, how to divide us. It's the way we've always done it. But Ian said it right at the start, these divisions are seriously on the way. They are thinking how to defeat their enemy, and we're the enemy. Let's make that clear. We are the enemy to them. They know what they're doing, and they're going to fight us. If we go into a battle, we have to think, what do we need to do to win? If we can win it by writing a strongly worded letter to the Echo or a local paper or a paper, and that was going to win, then let's do it. But if we don't think that's going to really do it, then we're going to have to up the game a bit, aren't we? If it's going to be a work to rule, if it's going to be a day's strike, if it's going to be a long strike like our illegal bus strikers, they gave a lead to it, they won, they fought, they won. How do the few rule the many? How do they do it? How do they tell us what to do? How does one of them drive past in a big posh car here and tell all us what to do? How do they wedge division, isn't it? We know that. Their newspapers, their telly, they are going to be ramping it up to start hating our neighbours. And it's going to happen. There are going to be events like that. But we need to be really aware of the insipid little bits of racism that they drop into things. That they're little mentions of racism that they think, oh, the refugees are coming to take your, I don't know, microwaves away or whatever they're going to drop your shoelaces or something like that. But their sexism, their anti-gay rhetoric, their tax on old people and young people, not to leave anyone out. They want to attack sick people. They want to do anything to split us up. And I am sure if our Dockers win this, I think in the seed in someone's head, in that little bunch of people that rule us, will be, why don't we do some sort of documentary on Channel 4 about greedy Dockers who win too much and they take things from other people and they're dishonest. And they will be thinking that right now. It's already a seed in their head. I'll tell you what though, we can come together. This is all about class. It's all about unity of class. We can be a unified class, and we know what they're up to. Let's celebrate our difference. Let's celebrate it. You all look different. You all look in your own way. We all are different, but we have something in common. We have something in common that can turn them around. If we do that, then we're on the way to doing something like what the Southampton Dockers did. And people need to know this story. The Liverpool Dockers on strike didn't unload ships, so they took them down to Southampton. And they said, no, we're not unloading. That's where we need to get to. We need to get to. Someone's on strike over there, I'm over here, and I'm going over there to support them. We are together. Victory to all of the strikers. Victory to the workers.
Thank you very much, John. Now, have someone from Walker Art Gallery come out and say, anyone who's sitting on their boundary wall, can you get down, please? There's actually loose concrete, and the last thing we need is anyone injured who's sitting down there. Especially if you've seen my first aid. Now, our fantastic postal workers and communication workers have shown tremendous solidarity whilst coming under ever-increasing attacks from desperate and immoral management. Please welcome, from the Communication Workers Union, Mark Walsh.
Thanks everyone. Solidarity from the Communication Workers Union and Merseyside. That's postal workers, BT Open Reach engineers, post office clerks, Santander workers. Let's be honest, this system has never worked for this city, and it's never worked for working class, and it's never worked for people in the trade union. We're in a dispute now that we thought was just over a 2% imposition on pay. It's turned into smashing the trade union, and we're not going to have it. We're not going to be the generation that pull the ladder up on those photos. What our generations in the past fought for our terms and conditions, we're not going to give them up. And you can all help us. You can come and join our picket lines. Come down and support us. Get on the picket lines and show your support. And if you see a red van driving around this city, it's not one of our members. They are scab managers doing our work. I'd like you to challenge them. Challenge them politely, you scab bastards. Our Open Reach engineers, a smaller group if you like, just over 1,000 in our branch and another 1,000 up at Lancaster House. But during COVID, they kept this country connected. They allowed your children to carry on with their education. They allowed you to work from home. They allowed the government to survive as well by the video meetings. But they were deemed, just like the postal workers, as important workers, like millions of others in the NHS. And for those of us, the people of the country thought the world had changed under COVID. But if you remember, the trade union knew they were coming back. And they've been attacking our members since the end of COVID. They've done the same with our BTO police engineers. They want them to work for less terms and conditions, and we're not having it. This city's got a strong reputation of fighting back. Our union has been out on strike now for 4 days. We've got another 19 days coming. Our members will be solid. It'll only be scab bastard managers taking our work out. With you, we'll smash them and we'll keep terms and conditions for future generations. Thank you.
Brilliant, Mark, thank you very much. Okay, late edition now. Unite member, Liverpool dock worker, please welcome Freddie Taylor.
Great turnout here today. Fantastic. None of us want to be here, but we are here, and we know why we're here. They forced us to fight, and they're going to have a fight on their hands. One fight on their hands with them. Let's say, we know what's going on. The Marvin Gaye song, yeah, we know what's going on. I'm a Liverpool top worker, Unite member, and a proud Trades Union member. I'll take a little shout out for all the speakers that were on here, but just for one. Them 8 court speakers, them girls who were up here, asking people to join trades unions, to join their trades union. I'd appeal to everyone to join that union, because I'll join it. I make this appeal to everyone here, not to keep this here to ourselves, to share this amongst our communities, to share it with our families, to become a member of a trades union, and to build us and make us bigger and stronger. If they want to fight, then we're going down fighting to the last man, woman and child. We will not give in. I'll be quick and I'll finish on this. We've got a long struggle in front of us. The bigger and stronger we can become, the quicker we can bring this state forward for victory for the people of this country. What we need to do as a strategy needs to be taken on board and needs to be listened to, and yes, to be discussed. And it was discussed earlier, mentioned before, if it's a letter we have to write, then it's a letter that we have to write. And each and every stage of this campaign, that minefield that we're walking through, we'll clear those minds so people can walk forward without injury and knowing that we're on our way to victory. The last thing I'll say on this, yes, I bring solidarity from top workers, not just in Liverpool, but internationally. Please believe me, it's strong. But what we need to discuss and need to think about, we need to become collectively together. If the trades unions were to turn around and name a day that we take action on that day. And if that day that we take action, the FBU is balloting for industrial action, they're being offered 2%. Other workers are being offered their percentage and we're organising against it. If the trades unions decide that their action is 3 days, and if they are empty, then I'll take my hat off to them and say go 3 days. If it's us left and they want to do 2 days or 4 days, and we go on the same day, then again do that. And every single union should be doing this and preparing the ground for a mighty battle that we're going to win. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Freddie. Outstanding words. Okay, the Public and Commercial Services Union represent members of government departments and other public bodies. To tell us more about their fights, please welcome Jordan David.
Hello Liverpool! It's amazing to see so many people out here today. Let me tell you, if this was replicated in every other city in the UK, we wouldn't have one single Tory MP in Parliament dragging this country to the mud. It's an absolute privilege to stand here shoulder to shoulder with all my sister unions and to speak on behalf of the members of PCS. Now you might be wondering, what the hell is a civil servant doing standing up here with firemen and teachers and nurses talking about how bad they've got it? It's a solid job with a good pension, right? Let me tell you, that's not the case. The civil service in the UK was once a model that was exported to the rest of the world and held up as a high standard of public service. Today it is a shadow of its former self. It has been absolutely gutted, deborned, and it's running on fumes. Now, I know we've got to stand here and carry the can for a lot of the absolutely abominable Tory party policies. But let me tell you, don't associate our members with these horrific injustices and the cruelty and the misery that they inflict not only on this country, but on those who are trying to come to a more better way of life. Our union has been at the forefront of fighting this government now, and every iteration of these repugnant Tory profiteers for 12 years. We have fought them on every malicious policy they have sought to impose, and we are winning on certain fights the government wanted to impose in the Home Office that would have seen microphones pushed away and sunk in the English Channel. We put them to court, but this government thought they could get away with it. But it's not just the policies we're fighting for the rights of our members, because let me tell you, they have been stripped to the bone. Our members used to enjoy a relatively comfortable job. Now they are scraping together every single morsel of food they can find just to get by. 40% of our members have had to take out a loan for food in the past year, with punitive and exploitative interest rates. 35% of our members have had to go without food every day of the week so that their children can eat. 1 in 10 of our members at TWP, the people who are actually giving out benefits, are receiving benefits themselves. Liz Truss thinks that importing apples from France is a disgrace. The level of in-work poverty in civil servants and every other public sector organisation is an absolute fucking disgrace. Imagine that Boris Johnson has carried forward like 1,000 number that he seemingly plucked out of his arse when he was on. It is going to leave the civil service shuffling from one civil service department in the day onto the evening shift to work another 5 hours. And then they're coming in on a Saturday and a Sunday to work 9 hours of overtime. They never see their children because it's the only way they can ensure that their children are fed. It's not just one union, it's not just civil servants. It is about our entire class getting together to support one another, stand by one another, and turf these Tories out on their backside.
Thanks, Jordan. I will just pick him up on one thing. We are not firemen, we are fire. Travelled into Liverpool today, many of you will have walked past the railway workers over at Lime Street taking action over there, showing us just what solidarity means.
That we must pay as workers, we must pay as a class for the pandemic. And it's fantastic that we seem to have a bold step within the labour movement and within the working class that we have pounds to siphon off to the already wealthy shareholders in dividend payments. We've got an obscene railway system that rents trains. Every train you get on, there's a leasing charge on it, going to the likes of Eversholt trains, Angel trains, and Porterbrook. People you've never heard of them. But they've managed to make £1 billion in the pandemic, funded fully by the taxpayer. That is an absolute disgrace. And what we need to start campaigning on is that we want nationalisation, we want public ownership, we want our industry put back together. If the industry was put back together tomorrow, we estimate fares could drop by 20%. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want to disclose all the dividends and shareholders that made back. Because what we're actually doing is financing from the public the profits of the employers, and if they get in trouble, we finance the debt and the mess that they've picked up afterwards. That has got to stop. We've also got to stop the government, because of what they're doing now is actually coming for the railway pension scheme. That's their next position, is to try and smash that scheme by changing the funding of it to make workers have less in retirement. So we're going to have another dispute coming as a trade union to defend a decent final salary pension scheme, and one we must maintain. But we're at a pivotal time, comrades, a pivotal time. We can't look back on days like this and say we didn't do anything. We actually got to go back into our communities and knock on our neighbours and say, we have had enough, we are going to get organised, we are going to stop these extreme right-wing policies, and we're going to get back so we can have a decent standard of living and a reasonable life, affordable housing, decent NHS service, affordable transport. Let's bring the whole lot back into public ownership. Let's kick out the tax cut. Let's win. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Darren. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that our last speaker today is from my own union, Fire Brigade Union, to tell us about the fight we are facing, my very good friend, Ian Hibbert.
Thank you, Lee. Afternoon, comrades. My name's Ian Hibbert, and I'm the Brigade Secretary for Merseyside Fire Brigade Union. Before I start this, and I will keep it brief, could we please have a round of applause for all the speakers and our excellent compare, Lee Hunter. As I said, I will keep it brief because I know so well Lee won't think twice about pushing me off this fire engine if I run over. Last week, this Tory government unveiled its mini-budget, a budget that was aptly described as Robin Hood in reverse. Not content with watching families struggle, Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng saw fit to hand more money to their millionaire pals. 45% of the £45 billion worth of tax cuts will go directly to the richest in society, whilst just 12% will make it into the pockets of the poorest households in the UK. It's a disgrace. How can it be, in the sixth richest economy in the world, we are unable to ensure that children are fed and families can afford to heat their homes? A survey conducted by Shelter earlier this year showed that almost a third of UK households are one paycheck away from losing the roof over their heads. And with energy prices now set to rise to £3,549 a year on average, destitution for some families is a very real possibility. Like our brothers and sisters in the RMT and CWU and many other unions, the Fire Brigades Union have been trying to fend off attacks on our members' terms and conditions of service and our rights to collectively bargain. In recent years, employers have introduced non-agreed contracts, sought to expand the firefighter role and cut union reps out of discussions completely by refusing to adhere to agreed negotiation procedures. Our members will no longer stand for these blatant attacks on our terms and conditions. As a result, yesterday, Merseyside Fire Brigade Union served Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service with a 7-day notification for a dispute and a ballot for industrial. Like many members here today, firefighters have suffered through 12 years of austerity and below inflation pay awards. Our members are struggling to make ends meet. This year, firefighters were offered a derisory 2% pay offer. 2% when inflation is now running at 9.9% is a 7.9% pay cut for our members. Just yesterday, we received information that the Home Office has allegedly stated there is no more money for firefighters. Not content with causing a run on the pound, taking the economy down the pan and almost wiping out the pensions of millions of hard-working men and women, the Tories have now stuck a middle finger up at firefighters. We will no longer allow this government to drive the living standards of our members into the ground whilst them and their Tory mates stick their snouts into the public trough. We will soon be balloting members nationally for a pay rise which reflects the worth of firefighters. And we have no doubt, like many of our comrades here today, we will smash the ballot thresholds and return a resounding yes vote for industrial action. With the possibility of national fire strike looming ever closer, Chief Fire Officers and Fire Services are looking for ways to provide fire cover. Some will choose to use G4S or Serco, which is an absolute joke. Some have taken the outrageous decision to recruit members of the public and pay them more than they pay professionally trained firefighters. Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service will rely on what they call resilience contracts to break our strikes. Many of these contracts were issued to new members of point of entry who did not necessarily understand what they were signing up to. Unbelievably, these contracts, which seek to pit worker against worker, have been agreed time and time again by our Labour-led fire authority. For any member out there, and we know that this will be recorded and it will be shared, for any of our new members out there who hold one of these contracts, rest assured, the Fire Brigades Union will fight to protect your right to take lawful industrial action, regardless Brothers, sisters, comrades, I'll finish with this. As we go forth from this place today, back into the workplaces and back onto the picket lines, do so in the knowledge, not a wheel turns, not a phone rings, and not a light bulb shines without the permission of the working class. Solidarity, comrades!
Yeah, it was all right. Thanks, Ian. A fitting end to today's speeches, and I'll wrap it up here now by thanking you, every comrade, every ally who's turned out here today in such amazing numbers. Thankfully, the weather's stayed nice for us. Thank you for coming out here today to show your support. Please, if you haven't already, look to join the campaign. It's not on there. The website to sign up is WeSayEnough.co.uk. If you Google enough is enough, you'll find it there. Sign up. What I would also say, comrades, is support the picket lines that are going on around this great city right now. Join the union. And smash the fucking system enough! Thank you.